Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Warriors Walkoff here on HBC TV 25. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thank you for joining us, and we're making our switch from seasons, from basketball now to baseball and softball, and head softball coach Greg Jones joins us today. And I always feel bad on the first show of the season because we get into your season halfway through it already.
Yeah.
You're 21-3, so thank you for joining us here and trying to figure out how the season is going. I guess that's my first question to you. At 21-3, where you are right now, just kind of an overview. How are things going this season?
Well, I think, numerically, we have to say it's going very well. 21 wins is a real good start, and that, yesterday just concluded the non-conference part of the season, and to run out at 21-3, I don't think I would have predicted that, but I'm not into predictions. So, for me, it's a feel thing of what I see, what I feel, how I think it's going that way, and we've had some big wins, and I've been really proud of some of the wins we've had, some of the teams we've beaten. But moreover, I've been really pleased with how we're playing and what I'm seeing on the field. I don't see it every game, and you don't feel it every game, and there's some times I think it's waning, but they've always been able to answer the bell, and I give them a lot of credit for that. All
right, you had a 17-game winning streak at one point, where I imagine it just seemed like everything was working for you. How did you feel during that streak?
Fortunate, I guess. I didn't know it was that many games in a row until my mom told me, actually. But I said the good thing, the real positive that was coming out of it was at no point did I feel like we were playing our best softball. In fact, I still feel that way, that we're not playing our best softball yet. And we still have things we can grow, things we can do to improve. But in not playing our best softball, we were still finding ways to win games. And so I think that was the best part of that streak.
All right, that probably makes this question make a little bit more sense than the game against Northeastern State, which snapped your streak. Seemed like an outlier for you over the last couple of years. It was an 8-0 shutout. I think you only had 2 hits or something like that in the game. What was the difference between that game and the 17 before it, or even all the other games that were before it?
Complacency, hunger. First of all, they were really good. I don't want to take anything away from them. They were really good, and I don't know that they're the best team down in that MIAA. They haven't been traditionally, but they're having a good year. They're in first place in that league right now. The kid who threw against us was a freshman, and they've got some big sticks, and so they play the game well. But if you look at our loss to Grand Valley State, we lost 7-0, and we lost that game 8-0. I thought they were incredibly similar games that the other team really showed up emotionally to beat us, and we just were kind of there playing the game. And the next time we played Grand Valley State, we were able to get back into our game, and we ended up beating them 3-1 in a great softball game. I think if we played these guys again, I don't know that we'll beat them, but I think we'll play them better than we played them. And one of the things I do with our team intentionally every year is I give them a schedule without the names on it. And it's just home or away and what time we play, because I don't ever want it to be about our competition. It's about us and being ready. And we started that a long time ago to take out the effect of wins the Mankato game, wins the Augie game. Let's not play to the level of our competition. Let's play every game to the best of our ability. Where some of that gets lost then is a game like that, where I think maybe emotionally we would have been a little more charged up, knowing who we were playing and how good they were. Instead, it was just another day on the calendar, and so it was just another game, and we kind of played it that way. And so it was an outlier to be sure, but I could kind of feel it coming. But then again, to the credit of our team, the way they stepped up and the toughness they showed then to follow that up with a huge 11-inning game, and that victory over in Emporia yesterday was phenomenal.
You're really leading into the questions that I'm going to be asking here today, because one of the questions I planned to ask was, and maybe I take a different track on this, you did beat the #1 team in the country earlier this season, which was Minnesota State.
Yes.
What does that still mean anything to you? Because you guys have had such great success during the regular season for as many years as you've been the coach here at Winona State. Does it still have that same excitement or feel? But since you're not even telling the team who you're going to be playing that day, does it even matter?
That one did. It was interesting because we weren't supposed to play Mankato, and we were supposed to play a team out of the East, and they couldn't get there because of the snowstorm. And Mankato was supposed to play them first. We were supposed to play them second, so now both of us were without a game. So the tournament coordinator sent a message, said, "Do you guys want to play each other? I assume you don't." And I didn't. And I just didn't want to get into that down there in Florida. We didn't need that dynamic. It's, but I also wasn't going to run from them. And so we talked about it as coaches. What do we do? How do we handle it? And I finally just said, well, we got to play them. And so we sent a message out to the team that night at the hotel. This is what we get. And, but it was we get to. We don't have to play Mankato. We get to play Mankato. And the last thing I said to them right before we took the field was, you guys wanted this. Go get it. And they played to beat Mankato. And it was the most interesting part about that game was Florida has a feel to it. And, again, it's different weather. You're playing 10 games in a week, and you're playing a lot of bodies. All of the Florida feel went away, and that game was all Winona Mankato. I mean, the intensity of that rivalry, the passion, the energy, the fist pumps. I mean, that was Winona Mankato to the T, that game. So
was there a release? Was there a celebration after the game?
There was. I think on everybody's part. And now I think we needed that game more than Mankato did. If Mankato wins the game, it's just another win. They're still #1 in the country. They run their win streak against us. Because Mankato we've had a really balanced rivalry. There's not been over the last few years anybody running away from each other until last year, and they beat us every time. And I think that was tough for all of us to take. But again, they were the best team in the country last year, and all of our losses were close losses against them. And so I think we needed that win to kind of get over that hump of, okay, now they're just another team again. They're not Mankato. They're Mankato for the rivalry, but they're not an unbeatable piece anymore. And so I really think we needed that win to kind of reestablish that, okay, we can beat anybody any day.
You talked about playing a lot of teams in a short period of time in Florida. That's kind of the way that your season goes. I think it's 54 games in 79 days is what your season boils down to. But now you have this little break since you came back from Kansas before you play your first NSIC games. What do you do in this week and a half break? I spent most of the morning working on that, and it's just interesting, and it's good for us. But we really prepare for the first 6 to 8 weeks really intensely, in the gym and in the cages and the weight room, and maximize our 20 hours a week. Well, now you can't push too hard because you just need to kind of be in that maintenance phase. But my mindset is we still got here because of how hard we pushed. So we can't stop pushing. And so now using a week off, we're going to kind of taper a little bit, and we're off today. We'll be a little bit lighter tomorrow. But then we'll get after it for 3 days the way we always do and practice the same way and kind of, try to get that mindset back. Because then we'll have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, then they'll have the weekend off naturally, and then we come back Monday. So we'll get 4 regular practices the same way we always go after it, and then play again Tuesday, and then hopefully that kind of carries us through the conference season. All right, we're going to take a break here on Warriors Walkoff. When we come back, the player perspective, Lainey Van Zyl will join us right after this.
With our partnership with HBC, we were able to now be a smart gigabit community with US Ignite and the National Science Foundation. All their other partners are large metropolitan urban areas, Austin, Texas, San Francisco, Washington, D.C. And because of the broadband connectivity provided by HBC, we are a community lead for this initiative where we're going to be able to bring next-gen technology and stay competitive in the 21st century economy.
Providing opportunities for residential and business customers, HBC is leadership in your community.
And welcome back to Warriors Walkoff here on HBC TV 25. Lainey Van Zyl now joins us. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Now, you heard Coach Jones talk about the Mankato game.
Yes.
I got to ask you from the player perspective, how much of a thrill was that for you guys to knock off Mankato?
It was really cool, mainly because, like Coach Jones said, last year we went 0-5, I think, against them, which is not something that we typically do, is go 0-5 against anybody. Sure. And just the fact that it is Mankato and it's one of those rivalries that we always look forward to. And also it was unexpected, so I think just the quick turnaround from thinking we were going to play somebody and then playing Mankato, and knowing that we had the potential to beat them and handle them as well as we did. And so I think that it definitely was really exciting because it was an intense game. We were down. Well, I think we started off on top, right? We got ahead. Yeah, we got ahead 1-0, and then we made a few defensive errors, and they just got some hits, and then we were down, and then we came back and was just an intense game. So like Coach Jones said, it had that Winona Mankato feel that it always does, like in the conference. So it was a good win for us, and the fact that they were the #1 team always helps to beat somebody like that. So it was really cool.
Now, when you were on the show last year, I tried to ask you about your season because you're having a really good season. Personally, the team was having a good season. It's the same thing again this year, so I'll try it again. I know you don't like to talk about your personal, but you're leading the team in average. I believe you're leading the team in home runs. Personally, how do you feel the season is going for you?
You know, I think it's going really well. One thing I always strive to work for is consistency, and I think that's something I still need to work on. Just kind of up and down right now as far as consistency in a game. But you know, it makes it really easy to kind of relax and just do my thing when we have so much depth in our lineup. This year, especially in comparison to last year, we have just so many more people that can have the ability to split a gap or just get timely hits, and that takes a lot of pressure, I feel like, off of me. I don't feel like I have to. We always talk about on our team, it's a get-to mentality, and that's truly how I feel this year especially.
All right. I know I read an interview that you had done talking about Lainey's performance over her Warrior career, how she steadily improved. Kind of talk about that and what you've seen in Lainey over the years here at Winona State.
Well, I think one of the things that, and I don't know how true this is or not, but when Lainey came in, she was coming off of a year off because of a knee injury, so she didn't play her senior year. I don't know that affected her or not, or if it's just part of being a freshman at the college level, playing at an elite level. But her numbers were, in essence, average. You know, they weren't elite, they weren't bad. They were just kind of average numbers. And then we felt going into last year that she could be a premier hitter for us, and she really turned into that. And then the follow-up question you always ask yourself as a coach is now, okay, you've got 2 samples. Which one are you going to get? You know, and she's continued to improve her game, and that's been exciting for us to watch the continued growth out of Lainey.
I got to ask a little bit about your family. Your sister is a soccer player,
Yep.
and she's going to go to Drake next year. And I read that she talked about how she saw what you've been doing in college as being a big inspiration to her to push to get the college scholarship to play soccer. How do you feel knowing that you're a role model for your sister?
Well, honored. First of all, I think that's really cool that we have that relationship where she can see what I've been doing and kind of feed off of that. But to be completely honest, I think having her is what has pushed me to want to work so hard, and mainly because the kid is just a stud. Like she really is just good about everything that she does. And I was just telling a story the other day that I remember maybe my sophomore year in high school. She would have been still in middle school, and I was in doing a workout one morning, and she walks in, and I'm squatting what I think is a lot of weight, like really just putting in some work. And she walks in, and she's like, all right, like I'll do it too, and just absolutely demolishes what I had just been doing. I was like, all right, well, this is definitely something I need to work on. And so just kind of having her to train with and kind of just bounce ideas off each other, how to get better, I think has really pushed me to be where I am now. And like you asked, I think it's really a really cool thing to see her feel that way about me, because it is very humbling too.
All right, last question. Kind of ask Coach about this little break that you have, which is really the only one that you get during the
Right.
season. How do you maximize this time before you get back into 30 games in 30-some days? I
think just really take the time that we have at practice to hone in on the things that we need to get better at. I know Coach touched on it earlier that I agree with him in the fact that I don't think we've played our best softball yet. Defensively, we'll have games like down in Florida, we were just absolutely crushing the ball, but we weren't playing very well defensively. And then this week, I felt like we played better defensively and we weren't as consistent offensively. And so I think it's just finding how to get both of those things on the same page and getting better at the little things every day and taking advantage of that off time to just get in the zone before we head into the conference season.
All right, well, thank you for joining us.
Thank
and
you
good
for
luck with
having
the
me.
conference
Thank
season.
you.
All right, let's take a break here on Warriors Walkoff. When we come back, we'll talk baseball. That's right after this.
Looking for Hewitt. No Did way. He make that catch?
And welcome back to Warriors Walkoff on TV 25. Time to switch gears to baseball. Head coach Kyle Polk joins us, and thank you for doing another season with us here.
Yeah, well, thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
No problem. First question I'll ask you is what I asked, softball. So far this season, 2-9 coming in, so you've got some games under your belt before we do the show here. In your estimation, how's the season gone so far?
Well, you look at 2-9, a little disappointing, but me as a coach, I look at overall, we've done some things pretty well. We've played a pretty tough schedule. Probably Central Missouri is ranked in the top 10 again right now, I think. And we opened up 3 with them, and they've never been inside, and we haven't been outside before we play them. And then the games down in Springfield, Missouri, again, we went 1-3 in those games. And a couple of good teams that have been playing baseball. We're really young. Kip is one of the seniors that is going to be talking later here, is one of the seniors that is playing, but most games we got 6, 7, maybe 8 that are freshmen, sophomores playing on the field. So disappointing record, but I'm liking where we're going. I'm liking what we're doing. We're offensively, we just need to get better in clutch situations, but we've been pitching pretty well. Defensively, we've been really good. We've been making all the plays and stuff, so I'm pretty satisfied with that stuff. Yeah,
you're leading the NSIC in fielding percentage right now, so that's a good sign. I don't want to dwell on negative, but one of the things that's got to be frustrating for coaches, in most of your losses, you've scored first, and in your 2 wins, you've scored second.
Yeah. That's one thing. That's part of the. I talked to the guys the other day about young guys. All of them were really good players in high school, and they were probably the best player in the field at that point. And they could kind of take over a game, although it's a little bit different in baseball than it is in basketball and some of the other sports. But you could, as a good baseball player, you can do that. Thing is, here you got to play the whole game out because it's everybody on all the teams are that kid from high school, and so we got to make sure we finish games and go and continue to keep scoring when we have chances, and the rest of it will take care of itself.
I want to ask about the most recent game against Minot because in that game, I think the first pitch of the game was a home run. But then you guys came back with 4 runs in the bottom of the inning to take the lead and kind of take control of that game. Talk about that win.
Yeah, and that's one thing we've been talking about, either offensively and defensively. The thing is, if we score runs, we want to make sure defensively we don't give up anything. You want to come back, have a shutdown, and we call them. If a team scores on us, we need to answer back, and if whatever, either match them or do more than what they have. So that was I was happy about that. We've been working on that, trying to make sure that we're getting better at bats with guys in scoring position, and it's starting to come around.
Now, we've talked in the past about these early season games are kind of a scramble because you don't know if you're going to play them, you don't know where you're going to play them. And these games against Minot, they were supposed to be elsewhere. They were in La Crosse at Copeland Park, and I think this is the first time Winona State has played at Copeland Park.
Well, we played Viterbo there once a few years back, like probably in 2009 or 10 when Tony Mueller was here. But people always want schedules, and I give them to them. I said, no, just remember, this isn't set in stone. These are just, in the spring sports, it's just suggestions and stuff. So yeah, we were supposed to play at our park. Our field isn't ready. Frost is still coming out. We were lucky that Copeland was available, worked with their park and rec department, and they got it, and they did a great job. They were unbelievable to work with, and got it ready for us, and so that worked out great. Because the conference says you can switch sites, or you can go to neutral site. Well, there was really no neutral sites between Minot and here, and we weren't going to Minot because they got over a foot of snow on the ground yet. So it worked out great. This weekend we're supposed to play at home again, but we're probably, hopefully our field is going to be ready. Sioux Falls is coming over, and we're probably going to switch from Saturday, Sunday. We're probably going to go Thursday, Friday, because the first 2 weekends the conference allows us Thursday to Tuesday to get the games in. After the first 2 weekends, then it's back to Friday to Monday. But this gives a little bit of extra chance, and hopefully our field's ready, because we got some snowstorm coming in again on Friday night. So
crazy weather.
Yeah.
And then you added some games against Augustana too. That's coming up.
Yeah, that's going to be probably on hold now because they're depending on weather too. We were supposed to go there tomorrow to make up the ones from a week ago. Those are non-conference, so if we can get them in, we'll get them in. But right now, if we do this, we're going to make a decision at noon today with Sioux Falls whether they come for Thursday, Friday. If we do that, then we're going to probably back off on that one. Number one, that's 6 games in 3 days. 2, that's 3 days in a row. We're probably guys are going to miss some class, so we want to make sure we're keeping guys in class. The Thursday and Friday, we'll back up times a little bit so our guys can go morning classes.
We'll ask Kip when he gets in here, but kind of emotionally or kind of in your head, what are you thinking when these games are on the schedule, off the schedule? Maybe you're going to practice, maybe you're going to play. Who knows what's going to happen?
Well, that's kind of the nature of the beast with baseball. It's funny because the other coaches walked down the hall. I said, "Yeah, aren't you guys lucky you're indoors all the time, whatever?" So, but yeah, but we try to keep our guys up to date on what's going on. Let them know this is potentially going to happen. Usually, we know 2 days ahead of what could potentially happen, or what are the scenarios, what we're going to do, so they can make an adjustment. But that's growing up with baseball in the upper Midwest and playing high school ball in the spring, they're all used to it. So it's not that big of a deal, I don't think. You can ask Kip, he may tell you something different.
Yeah, we'll find that out in the next segment.
Yep.
I do want to ask about your pitching rotation so far. So far you've had 4 players that have started, and you've had 13 overall that have pitched somewhat.
Yeah.
Is 4 kind of your rotation set
Well,
for the season?
it's going to be 6 now coming up here, because after this weekend we start conference games in midweek. So we still need to find that 5th or 6th guy. We're really hoping Aaron Mutter, who we're hoping to be our big ace, he's pitched twice, but he's pulled his hamstring, and so he's not 100% yet. So we're hopefully get him back. So then we would have with Mutter, Shane Holtz, Herber, and then Dylan Whitaker, the freshman, a pretty good 4-man rotation. So it's just looking for that 5th and 6th guy. And we've got a couple guys that have thrown well. Austin Savory, freshman, has done a great job, because both games he's come in, he's had to come in for Mutter after the first inning, and then he's gone 5 innings and done really well. So, but yeah, once we start conference now, going full bore, we're going 6 a week, 2 midweek, 4 on the weekend.
And then you talked about Dylan Whitaker against Minot. He got his first collegiate win, which has got to be exciting for the freshman. Get your first collegiate win under your belt early on.
Yeah, yeah, and he's pitched well too. You know, and yeah, he's pitched down in Springfield, pitched really well. Gave us a chance to win a game down there. But he's a kid who's got a lot of success. I think he was 13-0 in high school. Waconia won the state title. I think they're 2A, but they won that, and he was undefeated. So he's done really well, and he's a battler. He competes, and he's going to go after guys.
And then offensively, you're being led by Zach Stange, freshman, 368 batting average so far. What have you seen from him early on?
He's a kid. I've seen him for the last few years up in Eau Claire. His high school coach, Bob Johnson, played here in the early 90s. Really well coached, played a lot. He plays Legion ball with one of the better programs in Wisconsin, Eau Claire Pizza Hut. So I've seen him a lot. He's a kid that I don't do this very often, but I told him coming in, you're going to look, and now he's worked his way into the 3 and 4 hole, but leadoff guy. He's a leadoff type hitter, really. But I told him he had a chance to go from shortstop in high school to second base, and he knew that adjustment was going to be made. And I said, you got a chance maybe 4 years to be right in that spot and play and hitting the lineup early in the lineup and play second base and get a lot of at bats. And he's a gamer. He's got all the intangibles. He knows the game, runs the bases. He's not the fastest guy, but he knows how to run bases, and he knows how to play the game.
All right, well, let's take a break here on Warriors Walkoff. When we come back, we'll get the player perspective. Kip Youngquist will join us right after this.
Elevate your HBC TV experience with the latest technology to hit your whole home entertainment system. Record up to 6 programs simultaneously and save up to 350 hours of your favorite shows. Pause a program you're watching in one room and pick right up where you left off in another. Video on demand, wireless set-top boxes and mobile device streaming, apps including Alexa, Netflix, YouTube, and more. Call 888-474-9995 to learn more, or visit hbci.com/elevate today.
Don't miss out on highlights and score updates from your favorite local college and high school athletics by following HBC TV 25 Sports. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to get up-to-date information on all the games covered by the HBC Sports team. Grab your smartphone and add us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at HBC TV 25 Sports.
And welcome back to Warriors Walkoff. As we said, we'll get the player perspective now. Kip Youngquist joins us. Thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
We'll do a couple follow-up questions to what we talked to a coach about. First, all these changes, in the schedule. I know that it's part of the game. As Coach said, living in the upper Midwest, you don't know what's going to happen with the weather.
Right.
But for you as a player to see games go on the schedule, off the schedule, you don't know if you're going to play or practice, what does that do to you mentally?
Like Coach said, it's kind of just what's expected in the Midwest. But I've been lucky enough to have professors that are okay with it and understanding. So it's just communicating with them, communicating with the team, and we'll get things done. But it's an adjustment for sure.
So as a senior now, have you gotten the real good balance between schoolwork and practice time and playing time? How does that work out?
It's never the same. Every year it's a little bit different with my class schedule and all of that. So not really. I'm still trying to work it out, but Getting better every year at it, so.
You'll have it next year.
Yeah.
Right. I'd like to ask about being one of the few seniors on the team. As Coach said, it's kind of a young team, kind of loaded up with freshmen and sophomores. Do you find yourself being like a mentor to some of these young players?
The infielders, I feel like I try my best to take them under my wing a little bit. I'm not as close to the outfielders, but the infielders, we're pretty close. We've got a great infield coach this year, Gunner. He does a really good job with us as well, so I think we're a pretty tight-knit group.
All right, you've had some pretty good infield coaches in your past, though, too.
Yes.
In high school, you were able to have Al Newman, former Minnesota Twin, as a coach. Can you talk about that experience?
Yeah, I played 1 year for the Minnesota Blizzard, and he was my 16U coach, and that was a lot of fun. I learned a lot from him. He was a really cool guy. I couldn't have asked for a better coach for that experience. It was awesome.
Yeah, now, we heard that you're a Twins fan coming in before you sat in the chair here. Did you get to hear a bunch of stories about 87 and 91 with Al Newman?
Not that much, actually. He focused a lot on the present, on us, and so, I mean, he brought his experiences from the MLB, obviously, to us, and that's what really helped me the most, but he focused a lot on us in the present, so.
Did you find that some of the drills that maybe he had you do are something that you're doing now in college?
Yeah, it's a lot of the same, and I've talked to not so much KP, but our infield coaches about some of the drills that I learned from Al Newman, and we implement those in our routine sometimes as well. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
In high school, not only were you an infielder, but you pitched a little bit, as
yeah.
well. You kind of dropped that now that you're in college.
Yeah.
Is there a reason for that? You would want to focus on infield?
Well, I wasn't recruited here to be a pitcher. I had a couple other offers to be a pitcher, and it's just really not something I wanted to do. I love playing the infield. I love hitting, so when they said they wanted me as an infielder, I kind of jumped on it.
When you have a player that does both in high school and you want them to focus on one thing or another, how difficult is that? Is that part of the pitch to come here? Is that, well, we want you to do this instead of
Well, some of those guys, some guys will tell them right off that, hey, we want you to be just a position guy, or we want you just as a pitcher. But some of the guys are going to be our border things and stuff. Mitch Stallsburg, for example, our pitcher that was the lefty that got drafted by the Tigers last year, and he's down there. He was a really good center fielder and a really good hitter down in Viroqua, and we want to do that, but once he got here, he just made the determination that he just wanted to pitch. We got a couple guys this year, Austin Savory, the guy that's been coming in for Aaron Mutter, he's a dual type guy, first base, and maybe hit a little bit. Otherwise, sometimes the recruiting pitch, we tell them we're going to let them try it and see how it shakes out, but most of the time in the back of my head, I know where they're going to work out the best, but we want them to see, because they'll figure out where their role is going to be and where they fit in the best, and then usually they're just going to run with that.
All right, final minute here. Last year was kind of a bump up year for you. Batting average was up.
Yeah.
You had more walks, less strikeouts. What were some of the differences between last year and your sophomore year?
I think just my daily routine, or pregame routine. I was a lot more focused my junior year. I was a lot more comfortable with the team. I just had things figured out a little bit better, and I'm hoping to take that into this year as well.
Okay. So. Any specific things that you need to work on to make this year successful for you and for the team?
I got to keep hitting like I have been last weekend for sure. So, but
yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, you got an RBI against Minot in the win, driving in, I think it was Taylor Field, who had the triple or the three base, a couple base error maybe to score a bunch of goals.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us here today, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, and thank you for joining us here on Warriors Walkoff. We'll see you next time here on TV.